morning, everybody, and welcome to my From Start to Stage journey, where we're up to episode 2 today, and I am 14 weeks away from competing in a fitness show up here on the Gold Coast and Brisbane. And my intention with this journey is to share with you the good, the bad, and the ugly in hope that you might be curious about what this journey involves and be a part of it with me. But B, also, you might just pick up some tips, tricks, strategies in different things that I do in regard to how I get my body in shape into competition shape to get up on stage in a bikini, and also be just the way I think in regard to motivation, focus, and it may help you in some way. Alrighty, so just a reminder that if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, it is a good idea because then you won't miss any of the episodes. You'll get like a notification. And also, if you are not a part of our Women's 40 Plus online health club, you are more than welcome to join us. It is a free private group that we run for women only over the age of 40, and I share on there exercises to slow down the effects of aging, along with education, some recipes. We like to have a giggle or two, and some hot tips. Alrighty, guys, so let me get started. Today I am going to share with you my weigh-in, what I was able to achieve over the last 7 days. I'm also going to share with you about nutrition and exercise and my goals for next week. So to start with nutrition, what was the good things that happened for me this week? Well, when I had my eating plan designed by my coach that is helping me to get from start to stage, she designed a eating plan that was 2,151 calories. And I share that with you because when I work with my women over the age of 40, we don't really talk calories. So firstly, I just want to say, why do we work with calories when we're getting our body to competition level? Well, it's a really great way to understand how the body is working, because if you think about it mathematically, if I was putting on weight at this at these amount of calories, I would be obviously eating too many calories. If I was losing too much weight, obviously I'm not eating enough calories. So it is a good way to work out how I'm going to get my body fat so low to being able to get on stage. What I want to share with you is when we do calories prepping for these shows, we don't just think calories. We actually look at macronutrients. And so macronutrients is protein, carbohydrates, and fats. And so protein is what is absorbed into my body, and those essential amino acids go and feed my lean muscle mass, and they help my muscles to repair and for me to get stronger and for me to increase my muscle strength and tone. Yeah. And then we have a blend of carbohydrate and good fats. And carbohydrate I love because A, it gives me energy, so I have lots of energy through the day. But B, my carbohydrate is very much based around fiber type carbohydrate, and that helps my digestive process. It helps me in regard to nutrients like my green fibrous vegetables and my fruit, and it helps me keep regular, going to the toilet on a regular basis. And we just know overall your health is far better if you are eating carbohydrate as we are aging, but it's also fantastic in regard to this journey of getting your body into competition level in regard to body fat and body shape. And last but not least is fat. And so we always need fat. It is actually an essential nutrient to our body. And so for my breakup, I'm just going to share with you at the moment, I'm having 157 grams of protein per day. And when we look at protein, we look at how much do you weigh at the moment and how much protein do you need to really be able to get maximum results. So that has been designed around my current weight, which I'll sort of share with you a little bit later. And then I am splitting, so I'm on 203 grams of carbohydrate a week, and I'm on 79 grams of good fat a week. So those three weights are what come to 2,151 calories a day. So that's currently what I am eating at the moment. So the good thing for me this week is basically I have been able to stick to the plan. And I've been getting most of my meals in where I would say I fell off the wagon twice. The first thing is having so much protein really does make you feel not hungry at all. So I'm finding a little bit like I'm having to force myself to eat because the protein is so satisfying. My body's sort of not even got a craving, no hunger. It's just very flat. And I could just go without food, but I understand the importance of protein. So I've definitely been making sure that I've been having my protein, but it is something that I am just a little bit curious about. And I guess there's been just a couple of times I'm like, oh, I just can't eat anymore. So I've sort of fallen off the wagon there. If you listened in last week, my goal was to stick to the plan, to be able to have a naughty cake on Saturday from this favorite coffee shop of mine. Well, girls, another fail. So what happened was we had Rob's children staying with us at the moment, and they brought home, you guessed it, OMG, kettle chips. And I am definitely a seagull to like a hot chip on a hot chip. I tell you, I blew it again. And so I was back to the kettle chip thing again. And so I decided, well, that was your cheat meal, Dana. You've done it. So now I have to wait until this week to have my cheat meal, which will be this Saturday, and not be able and have no kettle chips this week so that I'm able to have my cheat meal. So that's what I've decided to do. I'm on target at the moment. My strategy is to not have that first chip. And so for me, I understand when I have that first chip, that first kettle chip, I literally am a little bit like an addictive personality and I don't stop. And so this is my strategy. Don't have the first one, because I know if I do not have that first chip, I'm okay. I'm fine. My body's not craving it. It's not wanting it. I just am fine. So that's my strategy. And they are probably the two areas that I fell off the wagon a little bit this week, but all is good. So I just wanted to share, before I tell you what my weighing and measurements were, is I've listened to a couple of podcasts this week, which I found interesting. And I thought you girls may find interesting as well, if you're interested in being a woman that exercises, but wants to be able to have a really healthy body fat level. What is the best way to do that? And so I often talk about a Professor Bill Campbell, and he's an American guy, and he does studies, and he studies women only, and he studies women that do exercise, that want to be that, they're not professional athletes, but they do want to be in a really healthy body fat level and be able to exercise and what to eat to achieve that. Anyway, he came on and he was talking about his latest studies, done hundreds of studies. And the latest one was understanding the importance of protein into fat loss, and how protein sort of sits alone as when you are dieting as such. So when you are dieting, you are far better to reduce your fat calories and your carbohydrate calories, but keep protein the same. Like, don't reduce your protein. Because he said what he found was, when he came across women that were naturally thin, he said, I'd sort of talk to them, and he said, I'd sort of say, do you have a diet high in protein? And he said, and after they realized he wasn't a stalker, they opened up to him, and he said every single time you could guarantee that these women were just naturally high in their protein intake. They ate a good amount of protein. And when he does these different studies, he really understands that protein is the source to really be able to keep your body fat quite low whilst still exercising, and to maintain your lean muscle mass and not eat into your lean muscle mass, because we know we don't want to lose muscle mass as we age. If anything, we want to maintain or even grow our muscle mass and get it back. Yeah. So I thought that was interesting. I also listened to a podcast this morning, and there were two researchers. One's actually from Australia, and these studies have been going on since 2005, and they're just about to come out, and it's about obesity. And they were saying that obesity, they believe, from the studies they've been doing, is coming from people not consuming enough protein. So the body is over consuming the carbohydrate and the fat. So he was sort of saying that if you are able to really make sure that you have adequate protein, the natural way of eating seemed to be 30 to 35% less than those that don't eat enough protein. And they've done different studies. Those that weren't eating enough protein seem to eat 30 to 35% more than what they should be eating. So that's a very big difference in calories, and hence weight gain, weight loss. So just something to remember, guys, is you will hear me talk about protein through this journey. It is an essential part of bringing your body fat levels into a low level, but maintaining your lean muscle mass and not eating into it, which is the whole goal of this program. Yeah. All right, so what was my weigh-in results? So I'll share that with you now, and then I'm just going to share with you about my exercise and what happened there and my lower back. So in regard to my weigh-in, I'm doing it once a week. I'm doing it at the same time. So when I get out of bed of a morning and after I've gone wee, and I'm jumping on the scales. Now my scales, I have a scale called Tanita, Tanita, and these are what you call body composition scales, and they tend to give you how much you weigh, but then they break it down also. So they give you how much percentage your body's holding of water, how much percentage your body's holding of body fat, how much percentage your body is holding of lean muscle mass. And this becomes interesting, doesn't it? So I don't say these scales are 100% correct, because they're not. but they are a scale. So they are something to use as a method along with measuring to see if I'm heading in the right direction. So for me personally, what would be the right direction? So for my journey, I'm trying to increase my lean muscle mass, especially around my glute area, because that area is really lacking severely. And I'm also trying to, I don't say that I'm personally trying to lose body fat, but at the end of the day, to get into competition level, I have to lose body fat. So I want to not lose any lean muscle mass. I want to gain it, and I want to be able to lose body fat. That would be the ultimate goal. Yeah. All right. So the weigh-in that I did this morning, I actually wrote it down so that I write it down every week. So just to share with you what happened this morning was I lost 600 grams. So I've 600 grams lighter on the scale, and this is where the breakup becomes important. So was it body fat that I lost? Was it lean muscle mass? So if I lost lean muscle mass, that would not be great. If anything, that's a disaster, because that means that I'm going backwards. I'm not going forward. Yeah. So I was able to lose 0.7 of 1% of body fat. So that's a tick. And my visceral fat, that fat in and around my internal organs, that actually stayed the same. And my lean muscle mass has stayed exactly the same. So it's not a plus outcome. What I was really hoping for was an increase in lean muscle mass, but it's not a disaster either, because I haven't lost any lean muscle mass. So to back that up with measurements, I did my measurement, my chest, my waist, my hips, and my legs, and I have lost 7 centimeters, and that's coming from my waist, my hip area, and my chest, and I've lost a little bit off each leg. So in total, I've lost 7 centimeters on the measurement in areas that you would assume you would be holding a little bit of fat around the tummy area. Hip area is your lower abdominal area. Chest could be either from the chest or a little bit from my back fat. So all in all, that was an okay result. And I'll talk about what my goal is after I've done the exercise part of the equation. So exercise, what happened there? So the positive part of my exercise was I've been able to do all the workouts. So I'm being very compliant, 100%, haven't missed a workout. The workouts I'm still finding challenging, but I've noticed I'm getting stronger already. So that's a big tick. So I've noticed I've been getting sore in my bottom, in the top of my legs. This is all quite positive for me. A little bit sore in my abs, definitely sore in my chest, a little bit sore there. My triceps super sore, my shoulders a little bit sore. So I've been a little bit sore everywhere, which is a okay thing. It means that I am splitting muscle fiber. I'm not sore to the point that I've done damage. It's just sore as far as I've had some good workouts. So my goal last week was to concentrate on my movements and to make sure I was engaging the correct muscle and to just polish up my technique. And I felt that I have been able to achieve that this week. The good news is my lower back is coming good. So I'm really happy with how that's feeling. I've been able to lift the weights that I normally lift without any problem to my lower back. My goal last week was to go to the doctor and to find out what is wrong with my back. So I did that yesterday. I also had CAT scan yesterday, and apparently it will take 2 days to get the results. My doctor felt that it wasn't bulging disc or anything because I have no nerve pain, but I am still curious as to whether it is age-related, whether it's arthritic, what I'm actually dealing with. So those results will come back and I'll share that with you next week. So what I haven't been able to achieve with my exercises, I guess I'm a little bit noticing I'm unable to push the weight up anymore in my different exercises. I think that's for two reasons. One reason is I get a little bit nervous around my lower back, and I also get a little bit nervous when I do things like my chest press, that being by myself, that I'm unable to, if I get stuck, I'm a bit nervous because I don't have that support there. So the reality is that's not great because I should be working to my maximum to be able to improve my strength. And the problem solving solution, would that be what I would say? The solution to this is to use my words and to ask somebody to what we call spot me. And so I'm able to push that little bit further, knowing that somebody is there to help me should I get what we call stuck in the movement. So that is my goal for next week in regard to my exercise, is to use my words and to up the ante a little bit more in my exercises, such as my bench press, just to see if I can push it up a little bit in regard to my strength, and whether that will change my outcome in regard to my lean muscle mass when I do my weigh-in next week. So my goal with my food is to no kettle chips and to make it to a piece of cake on Saturday. And my goal with my exercise is to use my words and to also follow through on my lower back pain and to address that with whatever that turns out to be. So girls, I think that's me for this week. And I've got 14 weeks to go. So I'll be doing this on a weekly basis. So if you are keen to listen to my story, just a reminder to subscribe to this YouTube channel. I think there's a subscribe button somewhere, and it'll mean you won't miss an episode. And be sure to leave me a comment. Let me know what you're thinking and if this is helpful at all. And I just want to finish, I thought, each week with something that I've discovered this week. Well, I talk about mindset as part of this journey, and probably a very big part of why I'm doing this journey. And I love what it does for me personally in regard to looking at my thoughts, my emotions, overcoming fear, and just getting stronger in that way. So my learning lesson for this week has actually been, I'm really noticed for the past few weeks really, that the more I slow down, and when I say slow down, like seriously slow down, like be more breathe, like, you know, I don't run through my day, get to the end of the day and think, where did that go? Be more conscious throughout my day and taking moments of breaks. So, you know, a little walk after lunch for 15 minutes for my digestive health, maybe doing a breath work, you know, a couple of times during the day to calm myself into a rest and repair nervous system. I've really noticed doing these little practices has made me so much more aware of what is going on for me in regard to my thoughts, and giving me much more of an opportunity to change it in a more positive direction. So what am I talking about? Let me give you an example. So when I ate the kettle chips, I was like, okay, I've done it again. You think she'd learn the first week, but she didn't. Anyway, so normally I would berate myself. I think I told you the week before, oh my God, you're hopeless. You're not going to get to stage, blah, 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 blah. This week, I noticed straight away, I was like, okay, you already know that no use, what my mother used to say, what is it? Something over spilt milk, because it's done, it's dusted. So I was straight away, I was okay with that. I was also, because I was calm and slower, able to problem solve it. So what is your next step for this not to happen again? And so rather than berate myself and then feel bad and guilty and end up in the pantry, I was like, well, I think I just can't have that first chip because that's my killer. That's where I go wrong. And what it did for me, what I noticed, I also went for another walk to burn out the extra calories. I noticed that I felt empowered and in control. And so rather than feeling like guilty, ashamed, bad, I sort of wasn't any of those things. I was actually like, yep, she's done it again. And I problem solved it. And so I'm now challenging myself to try and see if not having that first kettle chip overcomes this problem. And if it does overcome this problem, happy days, I'm on the road. If it doesn't overcome this problem, I will sit and look at it again and maybe come up with another solution and a plan B, a plan C, and a plan D until I go, that worked. And so I'm quite happy and excited to have discovered that slowing down is actually speeding up my results, because it's no longer about a mental breakdown. It's more about an empowering feeling of control over my nutrition, exercise, and life. Yeah. All right, guys. Well, that's me. I hope you found something enjoyable to listen today. Thank you for taking the time to share in this journey with me. And yeah, I look forward to catching you next week or on Women's 40 Plus Online Health Club. Bye for now.